Hey, what's up, guys? So, for today's Fundamental Friday, I'm going to be doing what I've done for a couple of the Technical Tuesdays. I'm going to be going over a trade recap, but instead of focusing heavily on the technicals, we're going to focus on the fundamental side of things. To really, I think this will help out with mindset and like how you think about fundamentals and analyze it. So, let's get right into it. This trade here that we're going to be covering was last year over the summer heading into August. So um, basically here we have the chart for the pound Japanese yen. We have GJ here, and this thing has been just free falling ever since May. Um, so knowing this information, we're going to be thinking about why. Why has this thing been falling? Well, two reasons, two main reasons. Um, so here we have it. So we have pound weakness because of Brexit, right? Brexit for the last 2-3 months has been falling apart in terms of talks with the EU, trying to find a deal. During this time here, the reason it's been selling off is because it seems like a no deal might occur, which would hurt the economy in the UK pretty hard. So knowing this information, the pound's been selling off. We also have yen strength, which is why we have this nice trend, is because we have a weak and a strong currency. And the reason the yen is strong because it is a safe haven, and this was mostly because of the U.S.-China trade war, right? They still haven't come to any kind of agreement, and in turn, all the tariffs have been really hurting, really the world economies as a whole, and the possibility of a recession because of this was real. So, for those two reasons, we've seen this trend forming, and we don't really want to fight this trend, right? Because both of these things are still very much occurring at this moment. The pound is very much weak, still no deal, seems like it's likely, still, trade war going on. So we don't really want to fight this trend and try to, pick a bottom, because that's not a good strategy. Picking a bottom is not a good strategy. Going with the trend is a much better strategy. So, knowing this information, we're going to be looking to take this short, but not right now, because this would be a pretty bad play. Anyone that knows anything about price action would look at this and say, okay, this, it needs a little bit of a correction first. But one thing I wanted to note is the intensity of the fundamentals. So you can see up to this point, we've gotten, it's been a nice downtrend, but it hasn't been too strong, right? It's been nice and leisurely, but recently we had a big spike down, right? Very strong sell-off. And this is because the deadline is approaching for Brexit, so that's going to increase worries and intensify them, right? Because up till this point, we had months and months, and they could potentially come up with a deal. So whatever, but this was getting really close. It's starting to get really close to the deadline, and it's like 2-3 months away, right? Because October was the month. So knowing this, fears are increasing even more. So very strong fear for the pound, and then also very strong fear for or very strong strength for the yen, because they were adding tariffs. It was just everything was really escalating with the trade war as well. So this is sort of a perfect storm. Knowing this information, knowing how strong it is, the fundamentals are going to play out more than the technicals. So we wouldn't necessarily try to look for a pullback up till this area to sell, right? It's going to be probably a shorter pullback before heading lower, because of how strong the fundamentals are. So that's really something to note. When you have really strong fundamentals, really driving price, it might not pull back too much. So with this information in mind, let's try to look for a trade to the downside. So, okay, it seems like let's head down to the 1 hour. Seems like we're getting a little correction here, and let's just draw this out. So honestly, for me, I would wait for a break of this trend line to get in this trade. Um, just because you never know, the fundamentals could change in a second. We could uh, we could see that they actually come to an agreement with the EU, which obviously it is unlikely, but if it happened, we would see this thing spike massively. And so just to be safe, I would wait for a break of this trend line to get in, because we could bounce, head a little higher, and I just don't want to be holding through that. So really, to guarantee our short, I would wait for a break here. All right, see, so it looks like it's rejecting. This is why I wanted to wait, because you really don't know what's going to happen. Um, and waiting. Okay, so here we had a break. We have a break, a solid break of this trend line. Like I said, given how strong the fundamentals are, there might not be a retest, right? A lot of people would probably wait for a retest to go short, but if the fundamentals are strong, there's not going to be a retest. So, knowing this information, I'd probably get in on the break. My stop would be just above this high because it could do some consolidation. And our target, I like to use Fibonacci extensions. So let's draw out a fib. Didn't quite get to the 61.8, but like I said, the fundamentals were strong, so it might not get there. All right. First target, of course, would be the 127. But given, like I said, how strong the fundamentals are in this direction, I would look for the 161.8 as the final TP. And so this is going to be where we take partials potentially. And so now we're in this trade. We got a fundamental idea. Everything's nice and set up. Now you just got to wait and see what happens. So, all right. Almost immediately, within a few hours, we are now at TP1. I would take some partials off here. But given how strong this thing's moving, I probably wouldn't take a whole lot off, maybe 30% off right there. And it doesn't seem to be rejecting too much. So we're just going to wait and see. Seems like there's some consolidation. Honestly, I'd probably get out manually right there. Nice risk reward, 240 pips roughly. I don't really want to, hold this thing and have it go higher. So it's pretty close to my TP. I'm just going to get out manually, and, it's a good trade. So, pretty simple, straightforward, nothing too complicated. So I hope this sort of highlights how you should think about things. It's not just what direction it's heading, it's also for how long it's going to head in that direction and the intensity of the move. These are all factors to take in consideration when you're analyzing news and data and all that stuff. It's not just what direction. There's a lot more that goes into it. But yeah, guys, so I hope you learned something. I hope this helped. I do like this idea of doing trade recaps with fundamentals instead of technicals. I think that'll really get the message across about how to go about your fundamental analysis. So I will see you guys on Tuesday. I hope you had a great trading week. For me, it's been pretty slow just because, market has been kind of choppy a little bit. But, guys, have a great weekend. I'll see you on Tuesday, and make sure to stay safe, wash your hands, and talk to you soon.